Hey, I wanted to make a quick video separately for number 21 and 22 over the graphic. Alright, make sure you label the graph so that one full cycle fits on the grid. Alright, cool. So I wanted to do this for y'all, man. And I hope this helps. Alright, couple things we need to do first. Let's identify some parts, the midline. The midline is your vertical translation. All right, so this is up one. So that's my midline. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to put my midline on this graph so you can see it. So bear with me. Let's do a dash line. Right there. Dash line. And let's make it another color. Let's say green. So there's my midline. Oops, it's negative. Hopefully you can see my green midline. It's not the best, but it'll do. Alright. Now, the next thing I want to do is...
Well, boys, we hit the jackpot this time.
I want to find my start. Alright, remember your phase shift is your start. So if I take a whole set of parentheses, all right, or I'll just do negative c over k. All right, so in this case, c is pi, all right, and k is 1 because there's a 1 in front of that x right there. Then I get negative pi. That's my phase shift, all right, negative pi. So that's where I'm going to begin. So when I label this graph, I'm going to start, well, here, before I even label it, this is my start. Phase shift, which also equals my start. Now for my ending, I want to find an ending. All right, to find an ending, first I need to find a period, which the period is 2 pi over k, and we said k is 1, right? So that gives us 2 pi. So if I take my phase shift to find an ending, if I take my phase shift and I add 2 pi, all right, so that's negative 1 pi plus 2 pi, I get 1 pi. All right, so this thing is going to start at negative pi and end at pi. So let me label my graph with respect to that. All right, so I go, hold on, let's do this. Boom, boom, on a thin line. So I'm going to go negative pi right here, pi over 2, 0, pi over 2, and pi. All right, I know it's going to start here and end here. All right, so I got my midline, I have my starting point and my ending point. And again, we know the amplitude, right, is 2. The amplitude is 2. All right, so remember sine, guys, is middle, high, middle, low, middle. Well, in this case, I'm not going to cross it. I want you to see it. Middle, high, middle, low, middle. All right, in this case, because it's a negative out front right here, we're going to go middle, low, middle, high, middle. All right, middle, low, middle, high, middle. So I go to my starting x value, which we already found, and the amplitude is 2, but I got to go, well, here, sine starts on the middle. So middle, all the middle points will be on the midline. So middle, the ending point will be on the middle, and the middle value, oh, wrong point. Hold on, guys, I made a mistake right there. And the middle value will also be on the middle, right? Middle, middle, middle. Now, I go to half of half. You see how this is halfway? Well, half of that is right here. And I'm going to go low. So the amplitude is 2, so I go down 2. And half of the second half, or the second quarter, all right, I'm going to go high, so up 2, right? 1, 2. Guys, there is my graph. And I know it's not perfect, but there's my graph for sine. All right, there's my graph for sine. If for some reason you're confused about this, just start this video over and watch this again, okay? All right, tangent. Let's talk about tangent. There's been some confusion, especially in my class. I don't know about other classes, but guys, to find this one, sine, the period, you use 2 pi over k. For tangent to find the period, you use pi over k. So in this case, you're going to do pi over k, which is 1. All right, k is 1. So we do pi over 1 equals pi. This is the period. All right, for the phase shift, we do negative c over k still, which is a negative. The equation is negative, but then c is negative as well. So negative pi over 2 divided by k, which is 1. So in turn, it gives us negative and negative cancel, so it's positive. And pi over 2 over 1 is pi over 2. There's my phase shift. Now, to find remember phase shift is also where you start. To find my ending, we're going to do, again, we can do the phase shift plus the period, all right, and that'll give us our ending, all right? Or if I did common denominators, because you need common denominators, so put that over 2 and that over 2, right? 2 pi over 2. So we have 1 pi over 2 plus 2 pi over 2 plus 3 pi over 2. So this graph starts at pi halves and ends at 3 pi over 2. So let me label this graph, all right? Let me zoom in and label that for you. So we have pi over 2. Let me make this line thinner. So pi over 2, and I'm going to break this out. Actually, I'm going to expand this for you so you can see it, make it a little longer. I'm going to go by fours. Pi over 4. Pi over 2, that's 1 pi over 4, 2 pi over 6 pi over 4 is 3 pi over 2. So 3 pi over 2 goes right here. Alright, so remember now, we just did the math on it. Alright, pi over 2 is where I start, 3 pi over 2 is where I end. Alright, so what that tells me is we're gonna have a point there at the ending, a point here at the beginning, and then everything outside of that will be asymptotes. All right, so let's get the midline on here. All right, first let's put the midline. Well, if you look, we see the midline is at 2. So let's put the midline on here. Let's go red, and let's go dash like that. So the midline is right here at 2. Oh man, that's terrible. I gotta fix that. Oh no. Alright. And then move it where it's supposed to go. So midline. Alright. Now, for the first X value, guys, we said it starts at pi over 2, right? Pi over 2. Remember that was the phase shift, pi over 2. So we're going to put a point on the midline at pi over 2. So at pi over 2, tangent and cotangent, it goes on the midline where it starts. Now, if you think about it, where does it end? All right, or your next 2 points. All right, see how the amplitude is 1? Right here, the amplitude is 1. There is no amplitude, but I'm just showing you where the points go. All right, it's 1. All right, it's 1. So what I do is go to my beginning, my end point. Better yet, let me keep you focused. Better yet, my beginning point and my end point are both on the midline. All right. Now, that means my middle value, guys, is going to be an asymptote, a vertical asymptote. So I'm going to draw my vertical asymptote, which is right vertical line. Let's go green, and let's go with this line right here. All right, vertical asymptote right there. All right. So now, look, it's simple, guys. See how far this is? 1, 2 this way. Well, if I go 1, 2 that way, there's my next one. And again, 1, 2, there's my next one. All right, my asymptotes. There are my vertical asymptotes. All right, so again, let's recap what I did. My beginning value with my phase shift is on the midline. My ending value is on the midline. So I'm about to do one full cycle of tangent, okay? Now, from here, we've got to get our next 2 points to make our shape. Well, just look at the next 2 lines. We have 2 more lines within this cycle right here. So for tangent, it goes like that. All right, if there was a negative, let's say hypothetically this was a negative out front. If it was a negative, I'd just do this. And it's 1. See how there's an invisible 1 right here? So I'm going to go to the next line and go up 1, and I'm going to go back 1 line and go down. All right, the next line go up 1, the back line go down. All right, and that is our tangent graph, guys. All right, so look, listen, I don't have more problems to give you. I just want to say, watch this over and see what I did. Again, your beginning and your ending will be on the midline. All right, and then this is 1 right here. So I'm going to go to first of all, go to the middle. The middle between those 2 lines is an asymptote. Just find the middle. All right, and then once you find the middle, all right, all the other asymptotes are the same distance away. So this is 2 lines away. That's 2 lines away. All right, 2 lines away, 2 lines away. All right, then this is 1. So my next line is going to be up 1, and my previous line is going to be down 1. And that is how you graph the tangent graph and cotangent, et cetera, et cetera. The logic's the same. So look back at some other stuff and just practice, man. You got to practice problems. And Bray knows the class with you next week. But, hey, this concludes your whole test video, and I hope this stuff helps, man. And if not, I'll see you in class. Catch you later.